Well, for a while I was just used to seeing one dove parent and one chick, and I wondered if I was going to see the second one. And we got a good view of one parent and one chick. And then out of the blue, magic, we had two chicks. So mother stayed with them there for quite a bit. But I think what I mentioned before, she didn't seem to stay with them as long as I've seen in the past with the nesting dove parents. Usually they're feeding and the dove chicks are flapping their wings for days, and then suddenly no parents and just chicks. So I started seeing mostly just two chicks in there, and they were being still and not moving, I guess, to preserve. Mama told them to not make a spectacle of themselves, so they weren't even practicing flapping their wings. And anyway, and then not too long after this, they just weren't in the nest. Like I say, the two chicks weren't in the nest. I looked around on the ground and I didn't see hide nor hair or feather of them. And it wasn't too long after that, it looks like the parents showed up, and they didn't seem to be looking for the chicks per se. And they're sitting there grooming themselves, and I'm wondering what's going on. And right after this, after them cooing, we get to see one of the chicks. Then out of the blue, the parents cooing brought the one of the chicks out of the bush in the top of the screen, on the top of the video picture there, and the next thing I know, I'm getting to get a view of one of the chicks. I'm not sure where the other one was, but you can see they're camouflaged but good. And then we started to have feeding time. I've heard that some of the chicks are actually fed on the ground for a week after they get out of the nest. So I was wondering whether we were going to do that for a full 7 days. And you can see both parents are in the video picture there, and I'm not sure if both parents actually feed the chicks. So after the feeding, parents and one chick spent a little time with some camaraderie. They were that way for quite a while. And then later in the day, towards dusk, they had another feeding. And towards the end of this feeding, the parent dove's gonna say, "I've had enough," and fly away. And then I watched the little one for quite a while. He wouldn't do anything, so I turned my camera off. And I revisit this picture because after I turned my camera off, the chick scampered over to that ground cover next to the garage, went 3 feet up to the upper left through that ground cover, then hopped out and went over into his bush that we saw him come out of for an earlier feeding. How the heck he knew to stay camouflaged while he moved is beyond me, but he sure did.